Hello everyone and welcome back to Octopath Traveler. We are currently doing the introductory mission for the Hunter Harnit. We are told that we should hunt a beast. A specific one, not just any. And so this is how most of the maps look. We have a run button. And we can use the analog stick to move, but the movement's not particularly analog. So if you use the D-pad you get the same kind of effect.
Then be hunted.
Breaking enemies, I've already explained that last time.
If thou darest.
So right now we don't know what this enemy is vulnerable to. Apparently it's vulnerable to bow attacks.
Come in, if thou darest.
We also have access to an axe. We don't know if this enemy is vulnerable to axe attacks. We can attack it with an axe and we'll see. No, it is not. So each enemy type has the same weakness, which means these kind of squirrel things will always be weak to the same things. Which means next time we see one, it will already remember that it's weak to bows, and we won't have to find that out again, basically. We can now also capture this thing. It's not very useful, but I don't think there's any downside to it. I think we still get the same same amount of experience. So at the end of a fight we always get this kind of end screen. Very common stuff. The first number behind the random Japanese sign is money. And then XP is self-explanatory, I suspect. And JP are what we use to buy skills. And I'll show you how that works when I actually have enough to buy a skill. You can already see in the distance there's a chest, and this game has a lot of chests, some more well hidden than others, but the paths tend to be fairly straightforward, and then if you stray from them you often find chests kind of tucked away into corners. So one thing that you can do in combat, for example, which is a tactic that might not be the best, but it works quite well, is you use a standard attack to break the enemy.
What next?
And then I like to summon Linda, who just does a lot of damage, to finish off the enemy. Now I'll also show you, up in the top right corner, you can see that there's a BP meter, which has currently got 4 glowing, pulsating, yellow-orangey dots underneath it. These are boost points, I guess. And sort of as combat goes, every turn I get one, unless I've recently used some. And I can use these by hitting the right bumper. I can spend this. See how attack now says ×2? And now it says ×3. And each time I'm spending a boost point, I can spend up to 3, which basically boosts my moves. Pretty much all of them. It means I attack multiple times. It also it increases the capture chance of capture, it increases the damage of Linda. So if you compare the damage here, that was 558. I think it was about 200 without all the boost points added. And these are, you get these back very quickly as combat goes on. So you don't really have to be too careful with wasting them, because if you used one last time, then you don't get one, but otherwise you basically get 1 point per turn. So it's not particularly...
Letting the hunt begin.
I don't know, it's not a very limited resource. But yeah, as I said, good tactic for these guys, for example, is attack once. He's now broken, which means he didn't get a turn yet. And then I just boost up my beast lore, because these points, they reset every fight, so there's no point hoarding them. And then a level 3 summon does enough damage to kill the enemy immediately.
I honor thee, my queen.
This works against one of these guys. If I have more than one, it wouldn't work, but you see, I now get a bonus because I was untouched. I didn't take any damage, which means I get, I think, a 10% bonus to the money earned or something. It's kind of nice to have, and as I said, I'm not using any renewable resources there, non-renewable resources rather, so nothing that's limited in any sense. These enemies also drop crafting materials. I don't know precisely how those work yet. As I said, I've only gone into sort of the first bits of the game. But I guess you can craft stuff with them eventually.
Then be hunted. What
now,
next?
let's see. This rat archer thing is weak to access, and we can also capture it, which will give it to me, and it uses a bow attack as a summon action. And because of all the enemy weaknesses and strengths, because I think there's also resistances, but you don't see those as easily. It can pay to have a variety of damage options available to you. Which means for the beasts, it could be a good idea to not get all of them be the same kind.
What next?
I mean, obviously also later beasts will be stronger than earlier ones and all that stuff.
Letting my arrow fly and true. Yeah! I honor thee, my quarry.
And again, untouched. And here's me sprinting. I believe it increases encounter rate, but I'm not sure. Also makes me move faster, of course.
This bodeth ill. If thou wilt, thou hast my say. Unacceptable.
So yeah, somewhat anime. Okay, nothing behind there.
Letting us begin.
They very often hide certain
Letting the hunt begin. What next? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they hide hidden chests. They hide hidden chests.
Thou
That was
didst
smart.
fight with courage.
Sort of behind the scenery, so it's not easy to see the path going there sometimes. Like this sort of thing. It's not in this case, but it could be a path to a hidden chest. And
Now,
generally,
letting us hunt it.
as is always the case, the more
Letting my arrow fly and true. Letting the hunt beginning. What next?
the more hidden the chest, generally, the better the content.
The hunt endeth.
Okay, I can now learn a new skill because I have more than 30 JP. I don't know what the J stands for. But if we go into skills, we can learn skills. Oh, job points, okay. So I can choose which skill to learn, basically. I already know Rain of Arrows, attacking random foes 5 to 8 times, and True Strike, which has increased critical chance, I guess? Or it's guaranteed crit, maybe even? I don't know exactly how that mechanic works, but it's a single target damage. This is more of an AoE thing. And then I can use basically my JP. It currently costs 30 to learn the next skill on any of these. I'll get Thunderbird for now. And now you can see the next skill would cost me 100 JP. And if I have learned 4 skills, then I also unlock a support skill, and I don't know to what point the leveling system in the game goes. I haven't played that far yet, but yeah. That's how that works. We don't have any passive skills yet, so we can't equip those. And again, side paths very often have chests in them.
Standest thou against me? Then be hunted. Come in, if thou darest.
Yeah, I haven't shown you the hunter skills yet. These are basically my quote-unquote spells. They cost me my SP, I guess skill points maybe. Think of these like mana. And each of these skills has a damage point. So obviously Rain of Arrows and True Strike are bow attacks, and the Thunderbird is a lightning thing.
Done my bidding.
So now we know this enemy is not weak to lightning.
Come in, if thou darest.
If on the other hand we use the True Strike,
aiming carefully, shooting true.
Because he's vulnerable to bow attacks, he
letting my arrow
yeah, he was broken
true.
by that.
Come in. I honor thee, my quarry.
And there we are. So levels increase my hit points and my SP, I think, and they also heal me when I get them. So this is a normal dead end. There's actually nothing here, which happens. But
standest thou against me? Then be hunted. Come in, if thou
so as you can see, I start with 1 boost point. So what I can do is immediately use that to attack twice with my axe, which will immediately break this enemy.
Letting the hunt begin.
And then I could, for example, immediately try to capture it and immediately go for a non-boosted attack. But my damage basically isn't sufficient to straight up kill it that way. Because I didn't have any boost points left over to boost my my pet after that. But it's something that you can do, especially when you get more party members. You can use the boost points on one party member to quickly break down an enemy's shield, and then yeah, kill it quite quickly with using maybe a high damage attack from another character.
Letting my arrow fly and true. What next? Letting the hunt.
And now because I have
holding back
enough boost points, I can use a fully boosted attack with my I don't know, Panther maybe, to kill the enemy very quickly. And see, this is one of those cases where a chest is hidden somewhat well, because you can't see the path there. They're not incredibly difficult to find, or, well, perhaps some of them are and I just haven't found them because I'm not exploring enough. It's possible, but generally speaking they are not too bad.
Yeah! Coming! Thou didst fight with courage.
So it's sort of similar to how turn-based combat very often works out in these kinds of RPGs. You find a certain enemy composition and you kind of learn a good order of attacks to deal with that enemy composition. Something that I also noticed doing quite a bit in Final Fantasy X, knowing that, okay, so this is the enemy composition of, I don't know, 2 slimes in that flying bird thing, so, you know, have Walker kill the flying bird, and then have Lulu do the AoE against the slime, and then wait a turn, and stuff like that. You kind of learn those sorts of things. Alright, so what we're gonna do here because I can't break these with this normal attack, because I can only attack one of them. But I can do Rain of Arrows, which is very likely to hit both of them at least once with a bow attack, which means I'm likely to break them both. So let's do
Rain
that.
and arrows up on them.
Obviously there's no guarantee, because it's random how often I attack and which ones I hit, so that could just be really
What
unlucky.
next?
But now we can do
Yeah.
a boosted Summon Beast and hope that we get... No, we didn't. Okay, we got the Pounce. So Lind can do Pounce and Sweep. Sweep is an AoE, Pounce is not. And I think this is me blinded. The blind seems to be really, really weak in this game.
Thou didst fight
I
with
think it increases the chance to miss, but in some games blinded is 90% chance to miss. I think in this game it's closer to maybe 50%. So it's not as good to get it on enemies, and it's not as bad to get it on yourself. Okay, before these sort of initial boss fights, the first story bosses that we fight in each of the characters, at least all of the characters I've played so far, before them you get a sort of merchant. He doesn't sell much, but you can buy some healing grapes and inspiriting plums. These are basically restoring HP and SP. And you can also do you can also buy these olives of life. Kind of pricey though, so there is that. And then we'll get a bit of a cutscene. And I think we'll be able to squeeze in the boss fight into this episode easily.
not. I see. Ugh. Come in then, if this beest thy will. What next?
Okay, so of course we right now don't know any of the weaknesses of this boss. So let's just hope it's weak to arrows, right? That would be very useful since it's a boss that we can counter as the arrow using character. And we got lucky. It was indeed weak to
Letting my arrow fly and true.
weak to my bow attacks. So I almost broke it in the first turn.
If thou darest.
Now we can see we can do a
Holding
fully
back nothing.
boosted Belinda's Song for almost 600 damage. Very convenient. Now we are very low on HP, so I'm just gonna
This
heal
will
myself.
help us.
So one thing I found is that
true.
the
Rain and arrows up on them.
balancing of the game is a bit off
Letting my
in
arrow
the sense
fly and
that
letting the hunt begin it. Holding back nothing.
this fight is going to be somewhat troublesome for me because I am level 6.
What next? Letting the hunt begin it.
I don't know what getting ready to respond to any attackers. I'm just gonna rain of arrows it.
Rain and arrows up on them.
That worked out.
Letting my arrow fly and true.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, can't fully boost it, but anyway. My character will level up, of course. And if I get to the next character,
Letting my arrow fly and true. This will
town, location, whatever, where I meet the next party member. Then
Let
if
the
I want them
hunt
to join me, I
begin.
need to play through their introduction as well, which will just be sort of like the stuff I did in the village before leaving. And then for their actual first quest, I can already tag along. And the issue is that my character will then be significantly higher level.
Come in, if thou darest.
So I might be level 10 and I would be joining the other character for a level 5 mission. And from what I've seen so far, this can definitely make it
Rain and
a
arrows
lot
upon
easier to do those characters'
Let
initial
my
quests.
arrow
Because you're
fly
supposed to
true.
be able to do those by yourself at level 5 or 6. I'm having to use items here and stuff, but it's not a struggle.
Holding back no.
I'm not really close to death or
Come in,
really
if thou
unlikely to
darest.
succeed in this. It
This
will be
help.
fine. I need to use my items, of course, but my
Come
point
in,
stands.
if thou darest.
I'm going to also use
This
one of
will
those
help us.
plums to increase my SP.
Let
And
the
so I'm not sure if
hunt
that
begin.
sort of theme will continue, because after the first stage quests, we get second level
What
quests for
next?
each character and that sort of thing. Really normal RPG stuff, as I said.
Come in, if thou. Yeah, come in.
And again, it might be that for the first character I do it with, because my levels are low, it's going to be really
The
difficult.
hunt endeth.
And then I do a level 15 quest and my party's all level 25. And yeah, it might be just that it gets really easy. Anyway, we got some experience, we basically did fine. Wow, overdoing it with the vibrations
My
there.
life is given not in vain, for it will feed in others. Thou art of the forest now.
Very much circle of life stuff.
Come in, my friends. The animals that eateth the grass becometh the eaters of meat in their turn feedeth those yet stronger.
I didn't realize this bit was voice acted, sorry. It's kind of random sometimes.
And when the strongest of all dieth, his life is returned to the forest. His flesh feedeth the soil, the grass. His blood becometh sap, his bones wood. He becometh the food of the plant eaters, and the circle beginneth once more. Lives entwined, a tapestry woven anew each dawn, every thread a part of the whole. To surviven and honoring those felled by thine own arrows. As long as he speaketh only of hunting, he is the wisest of men. If only that were all he cared about. The hunt is over. Now it is time to tend to the fallen.
Good day.
Well,
Yes.
thou hast my thanks.
But of course.
Hmm? Hmm? Just so. The hunt is on.
Okay, and that's going to be the end of this episode. Next time, of course, we'll continue along the path of Hanit to save her master. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.